What is up, everybody? ProjectC28 here, bringing you another review, and this time we're going to be looking at the Figuarts Marvel's Avengers Infinity War Thanos figure. This figure is pretty freaking cool. There are things that are great about it, and some things I'm not so happy about. But we'll actually get into all of that right now. Just to get into it real quickly, I've been a huge Thanos fan since I can even remember. I remember playing my goodness, the arcade games, and that was actually my first exposure to Thanos himself. Back, I want to say that was like the, my goodness, it was one of the earlier arcade games. It was like the Marvel versus either. That was my first exposure, but I know he was in an earlier game than that. But anyway, getting to the point, I've been a very big fan of Thanos. When they first showed him and teased him at the end of the first Avengers movie, my jaw dropped. I was so happy to see that we're finally getting one of the biggest and baddest bad guys around in the Marvel universe. I mean, so much of the fact that's my wallet. Hard die-cast. Very big fan. But alright, let's go ahead and get into this review. Right here we see that he has the Infinity Gauntlet. This is a fisted hand that looks very nice. We have his smiling face that he also comes with, as well as another fisted hand right here. And then he comes with two interchangeable faces. He has the angry face that looks incredible. And then also he has the stern face right here as well. And this looks great. And I'm dropping everything. So he comes with 3 different hands for the left side, and then 2 for the Infinity Gauntlet hand. And right here, while I have this up, we have this open hand that looks very nice. Detail and sculpt look very nice on that right there. We have a semi-gripping hand / gripping hand, just depending on how you use it will basically describe whatever you're doing. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to tell you. So the Infinity Gems look really well. The sculpting on this looks really good also. So let's move on for the next one. Just a simple, again, semi-grabbing hand here for the other side. The fingernails are even sculpted in there. They look really good. And then we also have an open hand for the other side as well. And this is done and looks really nice as well. So major thank you to Figuarts for this looking very nice. I really want to go over really quickly is the fact that there are a few inaccuracies on the face, which honestly is not a big problem, but I could see how it could be a little annoying to some people. As far as the film accuracy, the likeness is done really well for the face sculpts. The only thing that kind of bothers me is that we know that Thanos has the, I don't want to call it scarring, but that facial structure where the lines go up, and there's a faint, very faint line. I don't know if it's going to pick it up, but there's a little faint line right underneath my fingernail right there, and then on the other side there's nothing. So I mean, it's not a big deal. If it's movie accurate, I know those lines that go up to his face are supposed to be there, but are not on the figure. It's not a big deal, but it's just a personal gripe of mine, and that consistency is continuous throughout the different head sculpts as well. So you can see there's a very faint line right there, and on the cheeks there's nothing else really on it. And then even this one here. This one probably has the best look on it because you can see there's one, and then that's about it. But normally they have the facial lines that are supposed to go up right there. But as long as they got the ones on the chin done, then I guess that's really all that matters. So for the articulation, it's not too bad actually for being a pretty big figure. The head can move up about that much, can move down about that much, and he does have a neck joint in there that actually enables some more movement, which is nice. The shoulders kind of have this butterfly joint here. Now, I personally like being able to utilize this piece up here. You could see that inside the bicep right here. Wait, let me see if I can try to get the lighting for it. But basically, okay, you can kind of see it right there. But right in here, you can see that this is kind of a floating piece. Only a little. It's not a major floating piece, but it kind of helps hide the joint really, really well. That's a nice piece that they added in there. But also, anyway, getting to the butterfly joint here, this can be used to the fullest, and it looks really nice on the back and on the front. So you can't really even tell too much. I mean, unless you're pulling it out really far, then of course it starts to look a little funny right here. But for the most part, it's done really well. The paint and the glossiness of it really just help it to stand out, and it makes it look really, really nice, especially with the consistency up here. It just looks seamless. Anyway, the butterfly joint can work really well. You can kind of pull it out, and to kind of make make it seem, make it seem like his shoulders are a little bit more broader than they actually are. But that doesn't look too bad. But you can also you can push him right back in, and it still looks good too. Anyway, so his bicep can move up, can move down, it can go all the way around. Now, the only thing I wasn't a fan of that I think they could have added with this figure, and I think it would have been very necessary, is a bicep swivel for this side and obviously this side. It would have done it very well. Granted, the shoulder can move fine. That's just personal to me, that I think that would have been really good. He's got a double jointed elbow that works really well. His hand can move down, can move up a little tight, and then can rotate. And then for the other side, now this is the part that I'm actually not really a fan of. Obviously you can do the elbow, but this portion here, I'm a little skeptical on it, because I know that this is supposed to be to kind of give him more range of motion, but at the same time, I don't really see why being able to pull out the joint does too much for the figure, unless there's something I'm not getting. But that's actually not the nitpick. The nitpick is that you can't rotate this joint at all, and that bothers me big time. Mostly because it's like, if you can do it on this side and not have a problem with it, it moves really well, and I don't understand why they wouldn't enable that to rotate. To me, that just doesn't make any sense. But for some reason, you can pull it out. You pull it out and then push it right back in. I don't know. I seriously don't get that. At least if they weren't going to do that, they should have at least cut it maybe right here. Cut it right here at the forearm, right underneath the gauntlet, and they could have made that a swivel right there. That would have been a good compromise if they didn't really want to give them a joint or the ability to turn the joint right there. Anyway, that's the only nitpick I really have about the figure right there. Anyway, so his diaphragm can move forward a little bit and then can move back quite a bit, and he can pivot side to side. He has a top joint here, and then he has a bottom joint right here. This can move forward a decent amount, not too much. It does twist as well as the top. His legs can actually move this far out and can move this far forward. Now, one thing I did notice when I was messing around with the figure, I actually realized that you can actually drop the pegs down right here in the leg, and it actually enables a little bit more movement, so where he can move out a little further. Now, another thing to worry about with him, just one thing I kind of figured out by myself, the legs pop off very easily. It's, oh yeah, you can actually see the joint a little bit better right here now. Yeah, you can see that it can go up and can go down. But yeah, that's fine. But just note that his legs come off pretty easily. So if you're posing it a certain way, there's a slight possibility it might come off very fast. And also, it looks like this one actually just got really loose. Oh no, never mind. There we go. Alright, so that works pretty well. The crotch piece is a hard piece right here. This right here for the skirt is actually soft material, so no need to worry about breaking that or anything like that. Like I said, legs can move out, can move forward. He's got a single jointed knee that only moves maybe about 90 degrees. Can move forward. He's got a toe hinge right here. Now his foot doesn't move back very much at all. You can't really do anything with it because this is a hard plastic back here, and it looks nice, don't get me wrong, but it definitely inhibits the ankle articulation. He can kind of move up a little bit, and then he can rotate at the ankle right there. So it's not too bad, but it will be a problem if you're trying to get him to put his foot forward, because obviously you can't. So moving on to the paint detail, I really think it's done nicely. Everything from the gold to the bodysuit to the pants themselves, everything on this figure was done really nicely as far as paint detail. The gems look really good, and even just the lighter shade of blue for the character himself, everything looks very well. I intentionally skipped out on the Marvel Legends version because I knew that this version was going to be a bit better. Now, I have a few pieces of the Build-A-Figure by the Marvel Legends, but even then I was still more of a fan of this one, not only for the sculpting itself, but for the paint detail and everything else that that this figure has to offer. To me, this is the superior figure, but obviously you're paying a pretty good amount of money for this figure, but I would say it's worth it. Even though I think that his hands and even right here on the arms, basically, to me, it basically kind of looks like you can chew on it, kind of like a, oh, what is that candy called again? Oh, Laffy Taffy. To me, it kind of looks like you can chew on his arms and chew on his hands, and to me, they kind of look like a Laffy Taffy but sculpted. So here's a quick size comparison next to the Marvel Legends Tiger Stripe Wolverine. We have Black Panther, and then we also have the Storm Collectibles Hayachi figure, which I have reviewed. So if you haven't checked out that review, please do. I would say he scales good against pretty much any of your Marvel Legends scale figures, with the Black Panther being just about your average size, Wolverine being one of your more smaller scaled, smaller body figures, which that figure I will get a review out of that really soon, as well as mention that he's pretty tall next to Hayachi as well. But like I had said in the articulations portion, if he's not tall enough for you, what you can do is drop the hips down, and from here he looks like he's towering over all of these guys. Probably not so much him, just considering that the hair is pretty tall itself, but next to the Marvel Legends scaled figures, he's huge. So if you are planning to add him to maybe your Marvel Legends collection, he will probably fit in very well. And here is Thanos in that classic pose from the movie when he's about to throw that planet at Stark. Honestly, this is a really cool figure. Despite my few nitpicks for it, I wouldn't say it's a bad figure. It's got some great posability. It's got some pretty great sculpt on it. The paint detail is just done very nicely. And even though I think he looks like a Laffy Taffy on some portions, he's still a really good figure. The price point is a bit high, but it doesn't make it not worth the figure, if that makes any sense. I still think that the price that he is, maybe he could have included some more accessories. I'd maybe a snapping finger for the Infinity Gauntlet side, or maybe another head sculpt. I think he's a good figure. I personally think that if you're going to buy him, he'll definitely be worth it. You could fit him in a scale with your Marvel Legends. He's a pretty decent figure. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. I have another review coming up very soon, so please be on the lookout for that. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram. Please check Pastrami Nation out on Facebook as well. Those guys have been so supportive, and a lot of you guys have been sent through them, so I really do appreciate their help and support for the channel. I'll leave a link to their Instagram and Facebook in the description. Thank you guys again for watching, so please share, please subscribe, like the video. Let me hear from you guys down in the comments. Is this your favorite MCU villain, or is it somebody else? please, I'd love to chat about it. Thanks so much, everybody.